Hi everyone. Today let's have a discussion on literary theory. In your fifth semester BA English, you have a paper titled Literary Theory where you have to study different literary theories. Before we start with each literary theory, let's first have a look at what literary theory is and how it is different from literary criticism. This session will give you a brief introduction to literary theory. Literary criticism versus literary theory. While some may use these terms synonymously, and although they are related, there is a difference between literary criticism and literary theory. Let's have a look at the difference between literary criticism and literary theory. What is literary criticism? You might be familiar with this term, literary criticism. Literary criticism is the interpretation, analysis, and ultimately the judgment of literary works. We can say that it is the art of judging or commenting on the qualities and characters of literary works. Literary criticism may examine a particular literary work, or sometimes it looks at an author's writings as a whole. Usually it comes in the form of a critical essay. As a definition, we can say literary criticism is the analysis, comparison, evaluation, and interpretation of a work of literature. While most written literary criticism dates from the 20th century, questions about the social value of literature date back to the time of Plato and Aristotle. In his Poetics, Aristotle stressed the importance of literary art. Based on this, can you guess who a literary critic is? Or what is the role of a literary critic? Do you think that a literary critic is someone who merely evaluates the quality of a piece of literature? No. A literary critic is not someone who merely evaluates the worth or quality of a piece of literature, but rather is someone who argues on behalf of an interpretation or understanding of the particular meanings of literary text. And what is the task of a literary critic? The task of a literary critic is to explain and attempt to reach a critical understanding of what literary texts mean in terms of their aesthetic as well as social, political, and cultural statements and suggestions. Often engaging in debates with other critics to help prove their points and make value judgments, literary critics hope to provide a reader with meaningful connections. A literary critic does more than simply discuss or evaluate the importance of a literary text. The task of a literary critic is not a mere discussion or evaluation of a literary text. It is more than that. A literary critic seeks to reach at a logical and reasonable understanding of what an author intends for it to mean and what different cultures and ideologies render it capable of meaning. Now, let's have a look at what literary theory is and how it is different from literary criticism. A very basic way of thinking about literary theory is that these ideas act as different lenses critics use to view and talk about art, literature, and even culture. These different lenses allow critics to consider works of art based on certain assumptions within the school of thought or theory. The different lenses also allow critics to focus on particular aspects of a work they consider important. Literary criticism, the study of a literary text, can begin with a particular literary theory. Literary theory is the idea that guides literary criticism. Theory helps to differentiate literary text from the others. It works to classify literary text into categories and schools of thought. One way to think of literary theory is that it acts as a critical lens or a view to view a particular work. Literary theory helps us to go inside of the text and understand the written works from many different viewpoints. Modern literary criticism is often informed by literary theory, which is a philosophical discussion of its goals and methods. Like for example, if a critic is working with post-colonial theory, she or he might consider the same story but look at how characters from colonial powers treat characters from colonized countries. Take Shakespeare's Tempest for example. If we make a post-colonial reading of the play Tempest, we take the character Prospero as a representation of the colonial power and Caliban as the representation of colonized countries. We look at these characters from that perspective if we are making a post-colonial reading of the same text. Literary theory is the study of the principles which inform how critics make sense of literary works. It provides a framework for our discussion of a text. In the second half of the 20th century, theory became the dominant and central concern in the discipline of literary criticism. The word theory stands for many theories borrowed or accepted by literary criticism from several disciplines like anthropology, sociology, Marxism, philosophy, psychoanalysis, linguistics, etc. We have different theories like new criticism, formalism, structuralism, post-structuralism, postmodernism, postcolonialism, feminism, new historicism, etc. We'll study all these theories in detail in the coming sessions. These are some of the discussion topics to ponder on. What is the relevance of literary theory? Or what do you think is the main purpose of literary theory? How do literary theories play a role in literary criticism? Do you think that literary theory affects our thinking? Why are literary theories important in literature? And what are the different literary theories that we have? I hope you got a clear idea about what literary theory is and how it is different from literary criticism. Now it's time to check your memory with these questions. That's all for today. Thank you.